The WoW gold seller reveals just how bad the situation is.
So ever since I made my video about the dark gold selling underworld of classic WoW, a number of people have come forth with even more shocking information that will make my original video look as innocent as Sesame Street. This rabbit hole goes much deeper than you think. We've barely scratched the surface of just how disgusting the RMT world
Oh, look at that. It's a bunch of completely legitimate players.
is. I've been
A bunch of
lucky
Lost
enough
Ark
to,
enjoyers.
one, interview a long-term gold farmer and seller who is in the business for 10 years and has a very eye-opening perspective
Holy
on the
shit.
industry with a lot of insider information. 2, a gold selling website themselves agreed to do a written interview, meaning they didn't get on voice with me, but they did
no surprise.
write answers to my questions. And this has provided a keen insight into how the website and the kingpins of the industry enact their enterprise.
Okay.
On top of all this, some of the biggest GDKP group leaders have come forth to reveal
I could just PayPal to you guys with what I buy, add and remove gold from the equation completely, to be honest, because all I do is swipe card, buy gold, but items.
even more shocking truths than what I researched in my original video.
I get a fair amount of big buyers that ask me that. Yeah, I bet they do. Used to charge people IRL money just for a spot.
Pots are even bigger than what I thought, and it's gotten to a point
What?
where people are just PayPaling real money to GDKP leaders instead of sending gold because gold in the game has become so worthless and deflated. But for now, grab a beer and some popcorn because it's time to fully reveal the inside life of a gold seller. So the most interesting part of interviewing a gold seller was learning about how the hustle has evolved over time. Red Mage, who agreed to do the interview with me, started gold selling in the original Burning Crusade expansion.
Jesus, bro, this guy's been doing it for 15 fucking years.
Originally, he had a fairly basic factory job. He also inherited a cat from somebody who was too ill to look after the cat, and the cat itself had a number of health issues. I swear this is relevant because he had to pay for large vet bills for the
So you're saying that he farmed gold and sold it to pay for the cat?
cat. So he decided to turn to farming gold on his paladin and then selling it for real money to cover the costs.
Oh my
But yeah,
god.
that's basically how I got my start, is to cover a significant medical expense for an animal. Roughly
Okay.
after the first payment deposited, my brother looked at it and he's like, how did you pull, $420 something in less than a week? And I'm like,
Yeah, true.
oh, I just farmed a whole bunch of gold on my paladin. And he's like, why are you not doing that as a job instead of working at that awful factory?
But he
Very good fucking question.
quickly realized that he could actually make more in real life money selling
Yeah.
WoW gold than working his day job.
Exactly.
$427 in under a week for farming a little gold on WoW on a single character isn't a bad amount of money if you think about it. Originally, all he had to do was farm RFD for blue gear, then disenchant it for radiant shards. Back in
Yep, it's because Razorfin Downs would give you small radiant shards. I remember I did this myself. And people would buy small radiant shards because they were used for fiery enchant.
the day, gold was much more expensive than it is now, very similar to the original classic WoW. The gold was pricey. I know of a few people who farmed gold, got over like 10 grand and went and bought a car.
Oh my
There was
god.
the old Razorfen Down dungeon. I could run the entire thing in about 6 minutes on the paladin, kill off all the enemies, and walk out with between 5 and 8 radiant shards.
Yep.
And on the hour basis at the beginning,
Yeah,
of
I
Burning
did this exact same farm to get my my epic mount.
Crusade, that came out to a little over $22 an hour.
So back in TBC, you could
$22 an hour? Holy shit.
make $22 per hour. Adjust that for inflation, and that's $32 per hour. And that's just
Jesus.
on one character. He moved on to better farms and never actually used a bot to farm gold. He's been doing this for 10 years without getting banned. His theory is because of that he played the game like a normal player and only sold a portion of his gold. That's the reason why he didn't look as dodgy to Blizzard and they didn't ban him.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Originally, he sold his gold to a website called MMO Pin.
At first, I went through a company called MMO Pin, MMO Pin, I think it was called. It was a small company that was actually centralized here in the U.S.
Really?
It was run by a grandmother and her grandson that lived in Montana. I was selling them gold for about $22 per thousand.
What the fuck? Okay.
And they were selling it for about 25 to 40.
Then he moved on to websites like IGE and then IGEX when they've rebranded. Now, MMOPin also had a contributor system. The more gold you farmed, the more points you got on the website. And then you could actually redeem that to buy actual game keys.
That's smart.
There was also a forum and group chats where people collaborated their strategies on gold farming. The farmers were largely from South Vietnam. These were the Giga Chad farmers who knew all the best strategies to farm gold in the game, because back in these days, you couldn't just find all the information out on YouTube.
The more important part...
Yeah, back then, people would have to, like, pay for guides and stuff like that, too. It was, like, a totally different thing because, like, people couldn't make money on YouTube naturally, so they had to, like, paywall stuff to, like, make money doing it.
That was the contributor forum. Helped people find different kinds of gold farms to help out with their current situation, chats, group farms. I did farm with a lot of people from not Taiwan, South Vietnam, I believe it was. Barely spoke any licks of English, but those guys were just fantastic.
By the way, guys, this video has been an immense
Well, yeah, I
amount.
bet. I mean, for them, this is like the best job they've ever had because, like, the economy over there in some of those countries is fucking awful.
Of work. It's taken me a good month to finally get this video completed, so I would really appreciate it if you did subscribe to the channel. I also like to give back to people who do subscribe to the channel, so if you want to know how to remaster the graphics in Classic WoW for the Hardcore WoW launch with a really clean UI also, or you want a spreadsheet with the best weak horrors and add-ons for parsing for every single class raiding in Wrath of the Lich King Classic, then all you have to do is check out the description of my subscriber-only trailer. We then went to talk about how much gold he was making at his absolute peak and what the value was.
It depended on expansion. During Wrath of the Lich King, I moved around 300,000 gold per month. At about...
Jesus, bro, that's more than the gold cap. Holy shit.
About between $20 and $23 per thousand. So about
wait. Oh, is he
between, I want to say between $2,000 to $4,500 per month, depending
$2,000 to $4,000 a month back in Wrath? That's actually pretty good.
on when I moved it and who I moved it with.
Holy
So
shit.
again, adjusted for inflation, this is $3,000 to $6,000 per month.
Oh my god.
We also began to talk about how the value of gold began to deflate massively towards the end of Wrath of the Lich King. This was largely because more and more people like Red Mage were getting in on the hustle and selling gold, and therefore the gold had to keep on getting undercut. It actually deflated to $15 per 1,000 gold at the end of Wrath, and by the end of Cataclysm it was $7, and then by the time WoD turned up, you were lucky to actually get $1.50 per hour of farming gold.
Yep, that doesn't surprise me. It makes sense. Back then, because you had the garrisons printing all the gold, that's what it was. So it's like, how are you gonna get people to pay for that if you can just get it for free? I mean, fuck. Yeah, I mean, damn. I think that makes a lot of sense.
But there was another problem in the gold selling world that was making the gold so cheap. And it's interesting to see how gold farming and selling has evolved because of this practice. Obviously, I'm talking about botting.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess that's true, too, yeah. Because, like, you got to think back in the day. Oh, Marquis Dragon. Holy fuck. Who remembers this guy? Yeah, this guy had all the botting guides, the cheating guides to, like, every game that came out in 2005. Holy shit.
This upsurge of bots really happened during the Glider days.
Yep.
This was the first good bot that you could buy and make a decent amount of gold with. It was so good that Blizzard actually decided to file a lawsuit against the bot owner.
Yep.
Blizzard shot themselves in the foot. They managed to lose their case against WildGlider, but they managed to keep the injunction on the sale of WildGlider. The judge that was presiding over the case obviously had stock in Blizzard, so it made no sense he even had the power to do that, but whatever. The guy who owned WildGlider said, you know what, it'd be a shame if this source code got sold out to somebody, and it is exactly...
By the way, I think that it is, definitely should be against the law to, like, make a business out of basically effectively, like, scamming a game. The business is built around actively ignoring the rules of the game that, like, you sign up for. Yeah, it's against the TOS, yeah.
What happened. So now you have an incredibly effective and powerful bot towards the end of Cataclysm that not only was undetectable because it ran below what the WoW Warden systems could detect it at, but readily available and being distributed under different names under many different companies.
So Blizzard once again boomeranged themselves in the face. They cut off the head of a Hydra and more heads grew in its place in the form of more bot companies. When Glider started,
I think that this probably would have happened no matter what, just because people would want to bot because it's easier than playing the game.
Around 20k users, but by the end of the court case, they had way over 100,000. So the court really didn't achieve anything apart from growing the World of Warcraft botting scene. Glider was incredibly difficult to detect because it worked underneath Blizzard's Warden system. Now, Blizzard's Warden system works like this. If your account gets suspected of botting, it will randomly download itself secretly while you are playing the game. So an actual program will be downloaded onto your computer while you have the World of Warcraft client open.
Wow.
And then this scans your processor log to see what other programs you are running. But the issue is that many bots are totally undetectable by Blizzard's Warden system, especially today because they haven't really made any effort to improve the system's ability to detect bots. The Warden system worked quite well originally. It was very vicious and effective at detecting bots, but the issue is that the Warden system was also too invasive on players' privacy. So to reduce the risk of legal issues, they had to dial back Warden's detective ability.
Yeah, that makes
Bot
sense.
software runs very deep on your computer below the operating system so that the Warden can't detect it in the processing log.
Yeah, I've never used botting software before or done that in any game, so like I know a good amount about it, but I don't really know how this works exactly.
And as far as I understand it, the Warden system cannot go deeper into your PC without legal issues. So Warden will never be good enough alone to detect bot software, and this is why GMs are needed so badly in the game. But obviously, as we know, Blizzard laid off more than 1,000 GM and support staff.
Yeah,
this is
so
why it takes
no
so
GM
long
problem.
for GMs
There
to
you go.
respond to tickets in-game and why bots are running rampant in the game.
I remember watching
As
this
we
video
know
when it
from the
came out.
recent Reddit Ask Me Anything that I talked about in the previous video, bots are able to run for months without getting banned, and are normally only picked up by the infrequent, let's be honest, big ban waves. Red Mage actually came quite close to getting banned because he had a close encounter with a GM, something that just doesn't happen anymore.
What the fuck?
There was a GM occasionally turning invisible, following me around Wintergrass, and I stopped and I looked up into the air where I knew he just reappeared and disappeared from, and I said, "Okay, come out." And he popped in. And I'm like, "Well, why are you following me?" He's like, "I suspect you of botting." And I'm like, "Can a bot do this?" And I flew over and I saw an alliance, another alliance. And I ordered my kill squad to kill him because he was competing with me. They killed him, and he's like, "Oh, you're not a bot." And I'm like, "No, Sherlock."
And this is what is currently missing.
Oh, I think he was multi-boxing. That must have been it, because like the kill squad, yeah, I think he's probably multi-boxing or something.
In the game, GM's actually doing stuff. Red Mage knows how to find and detect bots. He can go anywhere in the game and find one within 10 minutes. He then told me an interesting story about somebody exploiting and getting away with it in Cataclysm.
So then
very
why can't
badly.
Blizzard do it?
And he was a level 7 orc that was teleport mining around zones in Cataclysm. Right, at level 7. He did not get banned using this teleport exploit until the end of Warlords of Draenor.
So this
Oh my god!
guy was teleporting between mining nodes for about 5 years and he didn't even get banned. And this is how bad it was back
How
in the
hard
days
is
of
it to
Mr.
catch
Pandaria.
that?
Imagine how bad the situation is now with
Jesus.
even less GMs. We also know that the PvP scene in Wrath of the Lich King Classic is totally corrupted with hacking tools and win trading, and nothing is being done about it. We'll make an exclusive episode about that in the future also.
Yeah, apparently Wrath of the Lich King is full of cheaters. I don't know exactly why or how this happened, but it's extremely popular.
So, one question people are wondering is, how do people avoid getting banned by selling and buying gold? Well, to be honest, it's actually very simple. There's a reason why Red Mage sold gold for 10 years without getting banned. One, you do it smartly. You don't trade a truckload of gold on a low-level character at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Secondly, you do it on a high-level character, so it actually looks like
it's
a genuine
trade,
transaction of gold. 3, as I've mentioned, you can get a guild bank to effectively launder the gold.
You invite somebody to the guild bank, set their withdrawal amount to the amount that they bought or something like that, or put that amount of gold in the bank and then have them withdraw it,
Funny how this worked 15 years ago.
Yeah, it still works. 15 years, they still haven't figured this out.
And it still works today. The last option is to trade items of value to then sell on the auction house. This is the most safe way, but obviously there's a risk of not being able to sell the items or the price adjusting. But what normally a gold seller would do is any gold that they didn't make by selling the items cheaper, they would just send at a later date.
Right. Holy shit.
One thing I've been personally very curious about is how these gold sellers stay on the right side of the law when it comes to paying the tax man.
The tax? Dude, the government doesn't care about this. People that sell drugs pay taxes. Like, as long as you give them their money, they're not going to care.
And is it even against the law? Well, just from doing some basic research, it isn't actually against the law to sell in-game currency in a video game. So Red Mage was able to just set himself up as a self-employed person, do a self-assessment form, and you're good to go as long as you pay your taxes. Some people, however, decided not to do this. So
and that's the issue, right? Is a lot of the people that do this kind of stuff never actually pay taxes on it.
Strategy is to make a fake company and set up this company in a different country where the US can't legally operate.
Oh, yeah.
If you think about it, it's probably very difficult for the tax man to tax a gold seller. They are selling a digital product, it doesn't actually have a physical form, and on top of this, it's in a virtual make-up-believe world. Secondly, the world is run by boomers who struggle to even understand what World of Warcraft is.
Yeah, they're never going to figure this out ever.
A good real-life example of this from my personal life is when I have to write what I do for a living when getting car insurance. Strangely enough, YouTuber or content creator isn't in the database. The company that Red Mage originally sold gold to got into a lot of trouble for evading tax by making a shell company.
Shell companies? Oh, absolutely. MMO Pin got, the first company I worked with, they got in trouble with both the IRS and the Federal Trade Commission for doing such a thing.
Jesus.
They created a shell company in, I believe it was South Vietnam, to offload most of their sales to. They got busted for it because they were operating out of Montana, and they had a situation where both the IRS got on their and then the Federal Trade Commission got a raid of their servers in the U.S. that were, maintaining their website.
Bro, these guys got fucking swatted over this? Oh my god. Look at this. This is crazy.
And
the FBI is involved.
A week.
Look at this.
Despite their backup servers, within a week, that company was entirely gone. The last I heard, the person who was operating that website did I think about 3 years for tax evasion. I don't think the grandma did anything because she was like 85 and they just didn't want to deal with her health problems.
This company also had a bot farming enterprise working in-house, but back in these days, most of their gold did actually come from manual farmers. As the price of gold began to depreciate, the gold selling companies had to look for new strategies to get gold, and this is when the practice of keylogging entered.
Yeah, see, this is like another thing, is a lot of the ways that like gold farmers make money is by just logging and hacking accounts, because then the players just get all their stuff back whenever they recover the account.
Game. This actually happened to me personally a few times back in the day. It's the reason why the Blizzard Authenticator became a thing. What would happen is, first of all, you get an email that looked like it was from Blizzard. and just from opening the email, this would install the keylogger onto your PC.
Yep.
Either that or you buy a game key from a dodgy website, and this would then track what you are typing when you log into your World of Warcraft account or other accounts, and then that's it, game over. They have full access to your account.
A certain point after like the gold started hitting down about the $5 mark per thousand, a lot of companies started realizing it's much easier just to go fishing and see who they can catch and loot their account for everything they're worth than it was to, just have some regular dude working at a desk job farming gold all day.
And the thing is also, like, a lot of the people that this happens to, they just recover their account and they get everything back. It's not even an issue. That happened to you? Holy shit.
Was absolutely a problem. It still is a problem to this day, although the botting is more of an issue than just flat theft now.
Although Red Mage didn't actually bot himself, he had many contacts in the industry who did on a large scale. Pretty much from the dawn of time, you've always been able to run a bot consistently for 2 to 3 months before you get banned. Now,
yeah, I'm not surprised about that.
Red Mage's theory on this is that Blizzard have always done this intentionally to farm a little sub-money on top of the money needed to buy the game, and furthermore to increase the amount of money that they can make in the future with the WoW token.
The thing is, that could be true. I mean, I can't imagine, like, I mean, it's, fuck. I mean, it's Blizzard, so who knows?
To confirm my theory that gold farming companies will reverse engineer the bots that you can find online with their own software engineering staff, and therefore no longer have to pay the monthly fee for the bots on other websites. It's pretty simple basically. They can employ a freelance software engineer to reverse engineer the bot, and there you go, they have their own bot that they can operate in-house without any fees. Towards the end of the interview, we talked about retail WoW and how the WoW token in the long term has changed the gold selling scene. Has it truly reduced and...
Oh my god, look at all that stuff! Holy shit! All diligent farmers.
Really reduced and ruined the RMT process like Blizzard claims it does? Well, to nobody's surprise, it hasn't. Okay, not only can you actually now buy game time cheaper by purchasing WoW Gold on third-party websites than buying a WoW token to effectively play the game for half the price, it has also severely reduced the real money value of gold.
Yeah.
Now, 300,000 gold costs $11 on retail WoW. That's a lot of cheddar for such a small amount of real money.
Yep.
And it's the direction that Wrath of Lich King Classic is now heading because they've got the WoW token in the game. All that really needs to happen is the gold sellers now have to undercut the WoW token, and therefore they have to run more bots on their PC to continue making the same amount of profits. And now with virtual machines, this honestly just isn't a problem for gold sellers at all.
Yeah, it's also because, like, running the game isn't that hard, right? Because, like, it's fucking RuneScape or World of Warcraft. So you can run, I don't know, probably like 10 virtual machines on one game. On one computer.
Just have to make a few changes to increase the amount of gold they are farming. It doesn't deter gold farmers in any shape or form.
Yep.
Effectively, Blizzard is setting by using the token, setting a price minimum.
Yeah.
And all the bots have to do is be below that price minimum.
Well, yeah, but I think that the more below it you are, the more you're going to sell. Because, like, buying something for 10% less and then risking your account isn't as appealing as buying something for 50% less and risking your account.
At this point, it is just painfully obvious that the WoW token is in the game purely to make Blizzard more profit.
Oh, yeah.
And what's even more stupid is now that they're making more money with the WoW token, obviously more profit, they're then not spending this profit on GM support.
People will argue that, oh, well, Blizzard's technically not selling gold. They absolutely are. There's no way for a player or a person to track if they're putting tokens up there themselves. We don't know the algorithm it uses to calculate it.
So this dude thinks that they're selling the WoW tokens. Blizzard is the one that's making the WoW tokens. I kind of don't think so, but who knows?
Its price.
Who knows?
You do not know a lot of factors in how that is operating.
Yeah. Why wouldn't they? feel like it'd get leaked. And
so I don't know
quit.
about you guys, but it really feels to me like Blizzard barely care about fixing RMT issues in the game. My theory is that they dedicate a very small budget for game master support, especially
there's like one guy.
Or Wrath Classic. They are only doing the bare minimum to ensure that the situation doesn't become ludicrous to the point where bots never get banned and the economy goes out of control. But honestly, I would argue that we're already halfway there. Bot accounts are able to farm for months and normally only get picked up by these big ban waves. And it's got me thinking, why on earth are these big ban waves not happening once a week instead of only every few months?
Blizzard says that the reason why they don't do ban waves all the time is because they don't want people doing A/B testing and figuring out what exactly is triggering it so they can change the bot. But the problem is that if you can make money botting and you know that the account will be profitable, the amount of money that you can make is just the amount of money of accounts that you can make yourself. So I think that doesn't really work.
If it's a financial issue, then Blizzard just need to come correct and spend the money to employ GMs to find the bots and get them banned. The shorter a bot's life, the less profit they will make. They have to consistently ban bots fast enough in order to make the business unprofitable on a large scale.
Yep.
And then we'll just be left with idiots who use bots for personal use rather than companies running multiple computers with hundreds of bots purely for the sake of making a real-world financial profit.
Yeah, I mean, and those are the worst ones, right? Because that's where like 90% of the bots are, is like people with companies that are doing it and they're running like 500 bots. Not just like one guy who's botting Warsong Gulch.
It's also extremely cringe when they announce in a blue post that they've had an account banning wave. It's like a child trying to get approval for a little scribble they've done in class to get stuck on the fridge. Like, off, bro, seriously. They shouldn't be banning accounts once every few months and expecting us to be impressed. They should be doing big ban waves weekly to purge them out of the world
of Warcraft.
Well, it's like what I've said before. If you can make your money back with the bot, the amount of money that you can make is just it's a matter of an algorithm, right? It's just simple math. But like, if you're making your money back every time that you start botting, why wouldn't you keep botting?
I don't think a bot should be able to function for longer than a few days without getting banned. They do these blue posts to get a pat on the back from us, but honestly, it's more of an embarrassment for them, because they make themselves look like clowns.
Look at them all.
Fair enough, their warden system does seem to have a limitation due to its legal issues, but I'm going to remind you of a little story that I've talked about on the channel before when I played a community Pokemon MMO. Now, I was botting in this game. Alright, I admit it, get your pitchforks out. What I was trying to do is farm EP values on the little Paris Pokemon in Mount Moon. In fact, I wasn't even botting, I was actually just using Razor Synapse macros. And after doing this for about 20 minutes, I was automatically flagged for botting and had to type in a captcha to verify that I was human. I don't see why Blizzard can't do something similar. Why can't they develop some kind of AI software that detects when you're doing something sus in-game? For example, a player these days very likely won't instance farm the same dungeon over and over longer than 2 hours. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if less than...
It's because they don't give a shit, that's why. Of course they can figure out all the people that are big in Botanica that are botting. Like, how is it that the players know where the bots are? Everybody on YouTube knows where all the bots are. Everybody on Twitch knows where all the bots are. Everybody knows where the bots are except for Blizzard. Come on!
1% of players right now actually farm gold these days. So when an account is farming gold, it's already pretty suspicious. Make those accounts verify that they are human, or once they've done it multiple times, a GM then knows that that account is human and then they'll stop doing it. Or, you know, a GM will already be able to see when an account isn't a bot account. Because if they've been actively doing normal player stuff for years, like raiding, then it shouldn't really need human verification.
Right.
But if an account has done nothing but farm Botanica from the day of its conception, from the day that they paid for the level 70 boost, then obviously that's suspicious. There should be...
What are we even... Yeah, exactly. What are we even talking about? Somebody spends 18 hours or 23 hours a day in Botanica every single day. Come on.
A way of automatically detecting whether an account has done nothing but farm golds. Golds? Don't know why I said that.
Yeah.
Nothing but farm gold for a few days. And then a GM should be monitoring that account to see if it's a bot. Blizzard seriously need to invest in AI technology to help them in their fight against bots and actually employ more GMs for human.
I don't think they need to invest in the AI. They need to just invest into just hire people to fix it. Like if you guys think about it like this, if you had the tools that Blizzard probably has, and they gave you 8 hours a day to find bots, do you think you'd be able to find a lot of these bots and figure this stuff out pretty easy? Because I think I would.
Verification, especially before gold farming companies start investing in AI technology, because they definitely are.
Of course.
Another big issue is how RMT selling isn't against the law. Hopefully there will be progress made in the real world to introduce laws.
That's not going to matter.
And restrictions on the practice of RMT.
Yeah.
This would make it harder for the industry to function, which would be a great deterrent.
Yeah, it'll make it harder, but like it's already kind of harder for somebody to set up. Like I think it's kind of illegal to set up a business that's built off of breaking the terms of service of a game. Like if the business exists through an outcome of breaking the terms of service of a game, like it's not a legal contract in the same way, but to an extent it is. And I think that people have gotten shut down over that.
But the problem is, how do you make the practice in any shape or form illegal when it basically has no direct negative side effects on the real world? It only really affects the in-game world, and who cares about that in a courtroom full of boomers? Maybe an argument could be made that there is negative side effects in the real world for consumers of video games. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Be sure not to miss my next episode of Stronger Form Vice, where we'll be going over my interview with an actual gold selling website.
Was one too bad news.
Anyway, my name is Matt Goblin.
Yeah.
Until my next video. Ciao.
I do think that like if you're making a business off of another company's like I don't know, I think that like there's a line, and doing this kind of does cross the line. I'm pretty sure that's the case. I think the problem is that Blizzard doesn't invest a lot into solving the problem, and they just kind of let it happen because maybe they're making money off of it, and at the end of the day it doesn't really matter that much.